guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys spending some time with me and checking today's video out, because we're going to be talking about the difference between a wiggle wart and a rock crawler. These are two of the best pre-spawn crankbaits that have ever been made. I mean, these are the staples for most people across the country, and it's not going to be too much longer, guys. About another month, this thing's going to be coming into play. So I got some pretty strong opinions on both of these lures. I'm going to give you guys some tips and advice on when one works better than the other in today's video. Also, guys, real quick, I just wanted to remind you guys, anyone interested in becoming a channel member of Intuitive Angling here, that's a good way to support the channel, and it's also a good way to get extra videos that are not seen by the public every week. We put out 2 videos a week that are private for the members, usually, you know, more secretive type stuff. And also, I'll have some access to my email address for your fishing questions. So if you're interested in becoming a channel member, you just go on your browser to my YouTube homepage. You'll see a little thing that says join. Just hit that for information, and it'll get you all set up for there. And also, please hit that subscribe button if you guys you know, like the channel and the content. Really appreciate that. Okay, guys, these 2 baits right here, the rock crawler and the wiggle wart, are probably 2 of the most famous crankbaits that there are right now. There's more people that probably use these in a wide spectrum than about any other crankbait that I can think of, with the exception of maybe some square bills. But these are pre-spawn killers, man. Anytime that water temperatures is about between like 48 to maybe 60 degrees in the pre-spawn time of the year, it is hard to beat these 2 things. So we're going to talk a little bit about why that is. Now, first of all, I want to talk about the difference, and you know, sort of give you guys my opinion from fishing both of these for a long time. And also, guys, I'll link these in the description. I'll put my wiggle wart link and the rock crawler link in my tackle warehouse description if you want to pick some up after this video. But first of all, I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat. Well, I'm going to just lay it out there right off the bat before I get into it. I think a wiggle wart is the superior crankbait over the rock crawler. Now, there's a couple reasons for this. Number one is not all wiggle warts are created the same. Wiggle warts, you guys have heard about the old wiggle warts versus the new wiggle warts, and that is a reality. That is not something that's like made up, because the old wiggle warts have a tremendously wide side-to-side wobble like that, and the newer versions have a more like a wobble like that, because when they changed the mold on this thing about 25 or 30 years ago, they did something to it, and they could not duplicate that wide swing from the old wiggle warts. So what it has done is you can still catch fish on these new wiggle warts, but they're not near as effective. You can catch twice as many fish, on the old wiggle wart than you can the new one. They'll still hit the new ones, but they don't hit them near as good. And I don't understand why somebody has not figured out how to make the wiggle wart work like the old ones. And I'm like you guys, I have to get them off of eBay. They're super hard to find. And, I've lost a bunch of them fishing over the years. Hard to find, but nobody has been able to duplicate the old wiggle wart wide side-to-side action. Now, this is why a lot of people have went to the rock crawler. Now, the rock crawler, it does not have the same wide side-to-side wobble. It has a wobble very similar to a wiggle wart, the new wiggle wart. So when you talk in terms of the wobble on a new wiggle wart versus the modern day rock crawler, they got a very similar wobble to it. The only difference is on the rock crawler, it's a little bit different profile, and it gets down a little bit deeper, and it's more accessible. So that's why there's more people that have went to the rock crawler today than still fish the old school wiggle wart. But I'm telling you right now, guys, and trust me on this, because I came from the birthplace of the wiggle wart here in the Missouri Ozarks, where it all originated. And if you have a old wiggle wart that's running good, you will kick anybody's butt that's fishing a rock crawler. There's no comparison whatsoever. I don't care what anyone says on that. An old wiggle wart will outproduce any rock crawler any day of the week. Now, as far as the new wiggle wart versus the regular rock crawler, they're about the same. From my experience, when I use some of my new wiggle warts versus the rock crawler, my catch rates are pretty much the same. But if I pull out my stash of some of my old wiggle warts, it can't compete. The rock crawler can't compete with an old wiggle wart. Now, the reason a lot of people like the rock crawler is it gets down deeper on heavier line. That is why a lot of people use the thing. And like I said, they're readily available. You can get them right off the shelf, and they come in some good colors. But let me give you guys some tips and advice that will allow you to catch more fish on a Wiggle Wart, even a new one. Now, first of all, guys, the profile of the Wiggle Wart is superior to a rock crawler, in my opinion. I just think that the fish like the profile more. Here is a tidbit of information that's going to benefit you from watching this video. All you guys that are rock crawler fans, just try something right here. I'm going to give you guys a good tip here. Put your Wiggle Wart on a spinning rod with 6 and 8 pound test line. You can get this Wiggle Wart down deeper than a rock crawler on 10 or 12 pound line with 6 to 8 pound test line and a long cast on a spinning rod. With a spinning rod on a Wiggle Wart, I can cast it twice as far as you can with a bait caster. So I'm getting the extra distance out of the cast, and the light line is getting the bait down. And when you start knocking this Wiggle Wart in that 7 to 10 foot range, which you can get it down close to that deep with 6 and 8 pound test line, it shows this bait to fish that have never seen it before, because most people throw a Wiggle Wart on a bait caster with 10 or 12 pound line. Another thing that'll help you on a Wiggle Wart and both of these is put some suspend strips on the belly. You don't want the things floating up, because most of the time you're reeling these with a medium slow to medium retrieve, so you don't want these things getting down there and you stop it, and you don't want it floating up to lose your depth. You want it to just keep digging deeper. So the point of the video here was, when you're talking about terms of productivity, Wiggle Wart will outfish a rock crawler any day of the week under the right conditions. If you have the right setup, if you got the right colors, and you got the right rod and reel and line setup, and you have the right Wiggle Wart, no doubt whatsoever. Now, a lot of people have never used a true old Wiggle Wart. The true old Wiggle Wart have silver beak hooks on them. This is the true old one. There were some changes in it, and some people still use the ones, they're older versions, but they're more a modern version of the older version that don't have the chrome beak hooks on it. And you have probably about 15% side-to-side wobble on that older new model. But if you can find one, guys, if you can dig around and find them wherever, try to find an old Wiggle Wart, and they've all got solid color lips on them. The true old Wiggle Warts, all of them have solid color lips. And they've got the stainless steel beak hooks on them. If you can find that bait there, that's a gold mine. I'm telling you, there's not another crankbait that'll outproduce it during the pre-spawn. So my advice to you guys, and I'm not trying to knock, the rock crawler, is spend more time with a Wiggle Wart. I just think a Wiggle Wart is a superior crankbait. I think a lot of people, again, I think they use the rock crawler because they're easy to find and they get down deeper on heavier line. I think that's what a lot of people use them, and you hear a lot of people talking about a rock crawler. You don't hear people talking about the Wiggle Warts like they used to. But I can tell you guys, from somebody that is fished in the Ozarks my whole life, and I fished all the lakes where this Wiggle Wart technique was born, and I've talked to all the old Wiggle Wart masters here in the Ozarks, and they all say the same thing. Wiggle Wart cannot compete with, a rock crawler cannot compete with a Wiggle Wart if it's set up right. So anyway, I hope you guys are well, and hope it helps you guys catch a few. We'll talk later.